This is M402. This is based on a series of tweets from a French security researcher I saw a few years ago that were very good. He was, I think, Indian. So the Indian identity app that they use for like an identity card or a driver's license or something in India is vulnerable, and he played with it. So if you download this app, there I've got it. So you can put that app on your emulator. I've got one of my Android Studio emulators running, and this one is got Google Play, so it's not rooted. You do not need a rooted emulator for this project. So if I put it on here, it'll run. Now, if you put it on a rooted phone, it'll tell you it won't even run because it's rooted. So I guess I could have booted up a different app to show you that. But here, mAdHar should now be, there it is. If I launch it here, your device is rooted. Wow. Well, I didn't think this device was rooted, actually. Let me try that. I've got ADB, which connects to it. So if I do ADB shell, and then super user, yeah, it's not rooted. That's interesting. But somehow it decided it didn't like it anyway, that it was an emulator. That's rude. Anyway, so that's a better demonstration than I thought. I can't test this app dynamically here because if your device is rooted, you can't use this application. By the way, I recommend this for almost every app. All the banking apps should have had this feature and they didn't. Anyway, we're going to fix that. So we're going to analyze the code with JADX. Now I've already got JADX running here. And so I'm going to open the APK here. So I go to downloads and then, what's the name of this thing? It is in.gov, okay? I think I can just start typing. Yep, in.gov, there it is, mAdHar Plus. That's the Indian app. Load all files, yeah, sure. Is it a directory? I don't know. Not sure what it's saying, but we'll see. Okay, it's loading. This is why JADX GUI is fantastic. This will take the APK and turn it into Java code I can just read. And you can see the Google protection feature has been here to change the name of this folder to A. That's all it does. It takes, so let me point out the source code. Here's the Android code, which Google wrote, which I probably don't even want to look at much because there are probably not going to be security flaws in there that are easy to find because that's written by Google. Here's stuff written by other companies like Android, something called a barcode scanner. And here's the one, important to us, rootbeer. Rootbeer is the code that detects whether the phone is rooted. So it's using rootbeer. And here's the stuff written by the Indian government, mAdHar Plus. This is probably where you're going to find the good stuff. And this is more of that obfuscation thing. There's a free obfuscation tool built into Android Studio to try to make your app resistant to reverse engineering. And this is what it does. It just changes some of the things to like A, B, C, D, E instead of a descriptive name. But a bunch of things continue to retain their descriptive name. So this tool is, in my experience, completely worthless. Things like are still named things like password and login and credit card number. They're easy to find. It only changes the names that don't matter. It seems completely useless. But anyway, you've got it. So now you can also look at the Android manifest, and you can look at it in here. There's other places you can look at it, but we should be able to find it here. JADX at the bottom, expand resources. I don't seem to have resources. That's a little weird. Let me see. Oh, it's in there. Okay, I see. It's in here. Okay. Still don't see it. Okay, let me see if I can figure out where it is. At the bottom, expand resources. There should be a resources thing there, and I'm not seeing it. Now, that's rude. Well, I don't know what happened here that I can't see it on this, but I do know from before I can just use Android Studio to see it. So I don't know why my JADX GUI failed on me, but Android Studio will let me see that file. So I'll just put that here. Come on, let me drag it. All right, there. Oops, what happened here? Let me close some of these other ones. Is that it? Nope, that's another one. All right, let me just drag it into here. That's an APK. There we go. All right, now I see the files, and now I can see the Android manifest. There it is. All right. It's not that hard to see. All right, so let me see what I want to find in there. In the Android manifest, I would like to note the launcher. See, this is the logic. Notice when I opened it, I didn't even get to the splash page. It just said your device is rooted. So the root detection must be in the launcher. So to find out what thing launches first, you have to find launcher in here. Now I could scroll through it and look for it. I can also use Control F. I guess not Control F. I must have to use Command F on the Mac. All right, I'll use Edit Find. I don't know what. Find. There we are. Should have been Command F. It's There it is. Now I can look for launcher. There. So here's the launcher. This thing has an intent category launcher, so this is going to be the first page that opens. So if you go up here, you see it is splash screen activity is what it loads. All right? So this is the activity that it launches when you first start it. So that's the one to examine. And if you look at the official Android documentation, it shows you on create, on resume, and somewhere down here is launch. On pause, activity launched, you go into the on create. So the launcher is where it all starts. That's all I wanted you to see there. So we're going to read the on create method, splash screen activity here. So we go into the Indian government UI activity, splash screen activity. So it's government, UI for user interface. Notice how it didn't rename this to some letter. Then activity, then splash screen activity, which is here. And splash screen activity has various methods, but on create is the first one it calls. That's how Android works. So this is the first method that's launched by it right here. And in here, we can see it calls something called B here on create bundle. We should be able to see it calling root beer, and it's there. It's a little hard to read. Let me go back to my instructions. All right, so here's what you look for. If f.a and f.b, then something happens, and else new b. So what we're looking for here is integrity verification. The first thing is integrity verification, which is fa and fb. So that is here. If f.a of the app we're using or f.b of the app we're using, then something. This is the integrity verification. And remember, it changed the names of some things, so we have to find f.a. So let's take a look at that. It is bf. If you go here, you'll see that it imports bf. That's the f it finds. So that shows us the path to it. The path is navigate to that module, which is government b.f. Okay, here's B, and that's splash screen. I need the government's there. The government is here, B.F. there. And okay, BF, now we look in here and we find the A method. And there it is, static Boolean A. And here you can see it's checking for a SHA-256 hash and seeing if it's what it should be. This is what I'm criticizing a lot of these apps we're looking at for. They should check to see if the app has been modified or if the phone is rooted, and they should just refuse to run if either of those things is true. Here's the signature verification. Now the point is, it goes through all this, and then it returns one value called Z. So it starts with Z is false, then it checks to see if the signature matches, and then Z equals this. If the encoded message digest equals some stored value that it gets from some method called D, plus some new, so these must be some other calculation. So it looks like Z is if Z is false, it failed, and it will only turn to true if it passes some test involving the digest. So it seems like if you just return true all the time, it will not detect modification. And I think that's the logic here. So the SHA-256 hash is compared to some value to see if the app has been modified. So we're going to turn off the integrity control. So we need to take apart the app. So I've got APK tool on my Mac. I do not need to use Linux. I can just unpack it here, and we've done this before. D will unpack the app, and minus F and minus R will leave the resources untouched because all I want is the code. So I go here, and I go to downloads, and there I do a dir of in.star, ls of in.star. And there it is, in.gov and all that jazz. So it exists in this folder. So I should be able to do this. But I think I'm going to move to another folder to make things clean because I got junk here. So I'm going to make dir demo 0306 and go in there. Okay, now I'm going to find the APK above me. So I'm going to ls ... indian.star.apk. There, it's there. So I'll move this second copy in here. It doesn't really matter which one I move. So I move ... that here. Okay, now no match is found. Oh, because I've got to backslash out the space. Maybe there's another space. Maybe I got to backslash out the dot. Yeah. All right, here, I'll just do this. Let's move them all here. So ... in star.apk to dot. Okay, now what have I got? Now I have two copies of the app. This is fine. They're both exactly the same size. I'm going to remove the one with the 1 in it. Right. All right, giving me too much trouble. I'm going to just copy and paste the name. Somehow something about the spaces are making it awful hard to refer to that file. Remove that file. There. No matches. I got to backslash this. I probably have to backslash those things too. There. Okay, now I finally got it. All right. Now I got this thing. Now I can, I got to go to the instructions and copy the thing. All right, there it is. I just want to APK tool it. That's still not listening to me. Control C. This is very common that browsers don't listen to Control C. Get used to it. All right. There. Now I finally got the command. There we go. There's APK tool taking apart the app. Okay. Good. And let me just check for comments in the Twitch. Ayadhar has had so many terrible problems. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Fair enough. Anyway, all right. So, all right, here I am. I've taken it apart. Now, I'm going to go in to examine this file, which is the file we already found, the splash screen activity.smalley. That's the one that calls the thing that checks for app modification. So, once we're in here, I think we want to look for F:B. Yep, I'll scroll down and find the code down below where it calls F:A and F:'A. So let's try that. Shouldn't be too hard to get down. Here's C:Z. Might be here. B. Here's root beer. That's going to be important to us. And someplace down here is F:'A and F:B. I'm getting tired of looking for it this way. I'm going to go back to the top and use Control W. Look for F:'. There it is. Okay, that did it. Here's F:'A and F:'B. Those are the two things that check to see if the app has been modified. So, if the app is modified, it sets this thing called P1 to 0. Down here, this constant is set to 0. If you look at this, it calls the F:'A, and if it's equal to some value, it goes to condition 0, and this goes, and if it's equal to some value, it goes to condition 0. Setting P1 to 0 is what means the app has been modified and refused to run. So this is the test. So if I just change that 0 to a 1, it will always think it has not been modified. So that's the simplest way to fix it. There'll be other ways to fix it, but this is the simplest way. It's going to move.
You want the APK tool to unpack it?
Yeah.
It's not going into Java, right?
No, it's going into Smalley, which is compiled Java. Or it's ready to run. Yes, this is bytecode, but it's very close to Java. It's still quite easy to read, as you can see. So condition 0 is where it goes if it found that the app is damaged. And if I change that to 1, now it will always think the app has not been damaged. Now, we want to find the root beer stuff, which I saw before. Root beer right here. This is the library that detects if it's been rooted. So all we have to do is comment out all those lines. From the start of root beer down to go to 2. We can just comment them all out. There, I think that's it, down to go to 2 there. This will just not do any of the tests to see if it's rooted. So that should fix it. Now I think we just save it and repack it. That's right, okay. So I'm just going to save it and then rebuild it with the B command. So I save it with Control X, Y, Enter. Then I rebuild the app with those 2 changes. All I did was change a 0 to a 1 and comment out 8 lines of code. So it's very simple, very unlikely to break it. I didn't have to define any new variables or add any new commands. So it built it in the dist folder, which is what it does. Now you need to sign it. So you need to make a certificate with KeyTool, which is part of the Java development kit. And it wants a password. I'm just going to use password. It'll create a new certificate. And you have to watch out and say yes for the last one. All right. Now I need to sign it with Jar Signer. And give it the password. Okay, now it has signed the app. Now I just have to put it on the phone. So I have to uninstall the old app because it has a different signature. The installed phone will not accept it as an update. So to uninstall it, there might be other ways, but the way I know is to go into Settings, and then Apps, and then mAdHar, and you can uninstall. Okay, now it's done. Now I just drag and drop the new app in, so that was here. Downloads, I made this demo folder, and the inAdHar, and in the dist folder is my new modified signed app, so drag and drop. There we go. And now we should be able to run it. And so we are. It loads, so that's the game. Now it can make phone calls and stuff, so you can now play with the app. All right, so that's the game, and all right. And the splash key, I used to have the flag here, but it vanishes too quickly, so I put the flag on the next page. But that's the game. That's removing the controls of the app. So that's a good thing to do. I'm going to stop this recording.